Namaskaram. Guys, we have one last exam left to make sure this is our last attempt. For this to happen, you definitely need to have to get a very good score. When I say very good score, some of you 65, probably some of you 75. But you have to also understand that it is not going to happen automatically. Okay, this particular video is all about helping you understand what exactly is the objective of IBS. Because when I watched the approach you're following, I understood that you're not getting a basic perspective of why the paper is given. So unless you understand the objective, you cannot realign the strategy. Okay, this is a very short discussion. Once it is done, once you're done with your lunch, we'll get into the technical way of solving actual case studies using sources. One is a compilation given by your faculties, and the other one is your reference books, which you're already used to. Okay, so please pay attention to this for the next 5-10 minutes. The conclusion here has been bought into the picture after considering ICS objective. Why did they even bought this paper on the first hand? So I was part of the earlier discussions. There was a credit committee where they took more than 25,000 responses. I directly spent time with the board of studies at that point of time. So I knew the need for this paper to have a proper understanding of why this paper is given. May 24 is given for the very first time. So please don't expect the same level of paper. The paper is going to be different. I'm not saying difficult. So it will level up. And apart from that, this is a May 24th question paper, and also you have the recent RTPs and MTPs, where if you have noticed, the nature of case studies have been changed. If you have paid attention to the 15-20 case studies which IC has given, the nature of them are changing. So it is important for you to know the central objective, no matter what case study is given, what exactly is objective. Okay. So getting into the objective now, as the name says, it's integrated business solutions. Integrated means integrating all the subjects. Now, when you say business solution, it's a strategic business solution. For any strategic business solution, you need to have an holistic approach, all-round approach, financial, in terms of the financial perspective, in terms of the legal aspect, taxation aspect. For anything, a holistic perspective is required. So, ICA is expecting you to build that approach to answer any particular case study. ICI's problem is not your, in the sense that you not preparing for group one is ICS, not ICS problem. Please understand this. It is your decision to write group two alone. So it won't be considered that there are certain people who did not prepare for group one. So that would not consider become a part of the decision making process for ICS. It is our headache. We have to deal with it separately. I hope you understand that, right? So it would not think about people who don't have an understanding of group one. It assumes that all of you have reasonable understanding. So that is exactly how the nature of paper is sorted. Now let's talk about the preparation for the next 24 hours. So in preparation, once again, it boils down to the original question. Like I always say, the question paper is not about presentation, but is largely about processing. When I say processing, when you look at a particular question, even if a book is given, for example, for audit also, even for regular audit paper, even if you have the book, not many of you can score 60. Not many students can score 60 because the fundamental mistake which you make is what the question is being asked, not the accuracy of the answer, relevance of the answer. So even here, I'm not worried about the accuracy of the answer. Accuracy of the answer can be copied. Relevance of the answer cannot be copied. So to make it very clear and straightforward, carrying books is clerical job. Finding answers is intellectual. Just because you carry books, that doesn't automatically translate to accurate answers. Please understand this. Okay. Book is not the only solution. Book only solves the memory component. For example, you have certain level of memory which is internal. By carrying the book, you are having an external hard disk. Having an external hard disk is not going to help you process things better. I hope this is clear for you. So please do not rely too much on books alone. For you to pick up something, for you to copy something, the focus should be on what exactly is being asked in the question. Just like every other exam, question paper processing is the foremost thing. So you need to have reasonable understanding of the subject, right? So do not blindly trust that by carrying every book you have or every book which is available in the market, it is not automatically going to solve. It is helpful, but necessary, but not sufficient. Are we good with this? Is it understood? Yes. Now coming to sources. There are three types of sources. Pay attention to this. There are three types of sources. If I look at the question, okay, if I look at the question, there are two types of questions. One is simple question, other one is a complex question. Now, when I say simple question, a question for which the solution can be found in the paragraph. This is a simple question. Or a question for which a solution can be found in your book. So the solution can be found only from the paragraph or only from the book or simple questions. The questions which require a context of both your paragraph or your case study and an external book. I hope you know that questions. There are questions where you have to stitch the general understanding into the situation given in the case study. These are complex questions. For simple question, any source is fine. Now the problem is for complex questions. Now for complex questions, there are three types of sources. One is a simple source. Now what is a simple source? You pick up ICI textbook. There is a particular question. You pick up ICI textbook. India is 116 leases. You pick it up. You write. The source is simple. Now what is a complex source? You expecting this solution to be derived from some other case study, right? If it is about India is 116, if you have to purely pick it up from the textbook, that is a simple source. But some of you, when you try to answer this case study from some other case study, it's not a simple and direct source. You have to reinterpret the solution available in that case study into this case study. So this is going to be complex. So this is not straightforward. This is not plain, and this won't work even if there are minor twists in the question, right? So even if you carry a 2000 page 100 case study digest, things are not going to be automatic because search itself will take time, and also the conversion of the information from that case study to this case study is a bit hard. If I were in a position, I would rather rely on simpler sources to handle complex questions. Double complexity creates confusion. The question is complex, the solution source is complex, you breaking down, it's all very confusing. So please don't take this for granted, where you might miss out on certain essential information. Especially some of the videos which I watched to check what is going on, they're scary. Try to find out this question from that case study. That is bullshit if ICI decides to give you a very different case study, which it can, which it may, right? So be aware and conscious. It might work for one of the case studies, the approach which they're talking about. Probably one case study might be picked up, probably. But at every point of time, you have to be very conscious because you don't know which case study. And also understand this. Solution will be somewhere. But the point is, would you find it within the reasonable time and available time, within the given time frame is what you have to think of. So it's not just about accuracy. You also have to worry about speed. So talking about this, when you have to answer it directly, you can write answers faster. When you have to rely on sources externally, you can write answers accurately, but it will take time. So this is a game of speed and accuracy. Now, how do you have to understand? For you to get 100 marks, you have 200 minutes. I'm removing 10 minutes from each case study as normal loss, right? So you have 200 minutes. For 100 marks, 200 minutes, which means for each mark, you have only 2 minutes. So let's say MCQ, 4 minutes. 5-mark question, 10 minutes. Now, if you pick up 10 books to answer a 5-mark question, you understand that. Be very conscious about it, because anything going wrong is waste of time. Let's say you answered MCQ in 1 minute, it is wrong, waste of time. You answered MCQ 15 minutes, it's right, it's waste of time. So it is important for you to match both speed and accuracy. Okay, this is about the preparation process before you sit into the examination. Now, I'm opening up your thought process again. It's not a solution video. It is to open up your thought process and help you understand what is IBS. From the solution side, you're expected to do two things in the exam. One is thinking, and the other one is searching. Thinking and searching. Think and search. Think and search. Searching could be internal or external. Thinking is to help you understand the question paper process. Now, when you do this, okay, so even for searching, there are simple sources and complex sources. Even for thinking, there are simple questions and complex thinking. So there are multiple probabilities which can happen depending on the question. The range of case studies is extremely diverse, right? There are some case studies which can be done really fast. There's some of them which will take a lot of time. And also, even within the paragraphs, what I tried to do is I tried to map the internal questions with the internal content. There are some paragraphs where 3 questions are asked from the same paragraph. There are 3 paragraphs where not even 1 question is also asked. So it is also important to understand what is relevant content within the paragraph. That is one thing. So once the basics are done, there are 2 aspects which you have to understand. What is your approach for direct answers? Can you rely on your original intelligence? and write the answer as if you wrote for the rest of them. Just because there is a book, just because you want to be 100% sure instead of 90% sure, if you start referring sources for direct questions also, you won't have time for answers which you don't know. So it involves a lot of complex decision making because at some point of time you have to take a stand that I know this, I don't know this. Is it understood? Now, in terms of the overall approach, I'm opening up your thought process once again. Manju, is this visible? This part? Yeah. So there are three perspectives in this. Okay. This I'm not answering which to choose. I'm also helping understand what are the options. I have to solve 4 case studies in 4 hours, removing 10 minutes for normal loss. Each 25 marks in 50 minutes. 25 marks in 50 minutes. What is the simplest approach? 50 minutes for each case study. I pick up a case study, I process the case study, and then I solve the case study, move on to the next one. No setup, no carry forward. Because in regular exams, you're relying on your thinking to come back. Now, there is no need for you to leave something unless it is totally out of the syllabus or time is getting exhausted. If you are following this approach, finish one case study and move on. Both MCQs and descriptive. This is approach one. The second approach, in terms of, what exactly is the possibility for the second approach. So if you're looking at the second approach, you solve all descriptive ones because you're in a particular zone. You solve all the descriptive of all the questions. You keep solving all of them, 15 into 4, 60 marks, then come and do MCQs. Again, I'm not saying you to do this. I'm also telling what are the possibilities. I just opened up my thought process regarding this. Third approach, this is something which looks scary, but I want you to think about it. Subject-wise approach. You open the question paper, each MCQ, you mark, this is AFM, this is FR, this is DT, this is audit. 3 descriptive questions, AFM, FR. You process the whole paper. Everything is processed. Then you start picking up FR. Everything linked to FR is solved. Everything linked to AFM is solved. Now, I'll tell you why it is scary. Because you won't even write one question properly at any given point of time. Something will be left out. This is the scary part. Now, why is it even worth considering? Because let's say for you to answer one MCQ, you picked up 2 AFM books, searched everything. It took 4 minutes. You kept it. Then once again, for the next question, next MCQ, you picked up once again AFM. Once again, you searched it. Because this is not Google search, right? To get it. So every time you pick up a book and place it. You understand, right? The complexity of picking up a book, searching and placing. So if this is taken, if this approach is taken, the risk is at any given point of time, you won't get a sense of completion of anything. The advantage is you're going in a subject-wise approach where once you pick up a book, it's almost like writing AFM exam for half an hour. It's almost like writing FR exam for half an hour. So this is exactly one more strategy where you're significantly reducing the search time, right? So for this, what is the approach? MCQs, you kind of write a few MCQs, 1 page is enough to leave 1 page. For 3 questions, you list 6 pages. More pages, you can leave, and just like that. And then you move on to the next case study. So for this, you just have to process the paper at once and write with subject. That way, you can also finish it, okay? So normally, the safest is this. Some of them consider this. This, I don't see many people doing it for various reasons, but these are the range of possibilities, okay? So I hope you got some level of clarity in terms of what exactly is the paper all about and what are the various approaches which you can follow. So once you're done with the lunch, from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock today, we'll sit tight, we'll gather all the resources, we'll try to solve questions using the compilations which your faculties are recommending, using the simpler sources which is ICA module with ICA index, and also with the mixed sources which is the material which you already prepared, which could be a question bank or which could be your short notes or anything, okay? So by 6 o'clock today, you will know what to do to tomorrow. What has to happen tomorrow will be very clear in your mind. Hope this is helpful. Got it? Okay, so we'll start working. So finish up your break in the next 30 minutes. Thank you guys.